The Edmonton Oilers dropped Game 3 to the Dallas Stars after a horrendous collapse in the second period. Not at fault of Stuart Skinner, however. This whole team gave up in the second period, and we've seen the momentum come back in Dallas's favor. So I'm going to be talking about this game, what we've seen, what we noticed, and what changes we're going to see ahead of next game. And an interesting quote from Kris Knoblauch. So before we get into it, we noticed that 94% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all of your Edmonton Oilers news, you're in the right spot. Make sure the sub button, join us here as we cover this team in what could hopefully be a Stanley Cup playoff series next up after the Dallas Stars. And as of right now, we need all this hope we can get because this was horrendous. This game, simply, this is the best way to put it. I can't believe it. It's honestly a crazy way that this game played out. So I'll first pop the box score and everything, and we know what happened. I'll get into that a bit later, but this game was just something that I cannot believe. Zach Hyman got the first one off his tip, a tip from him, with a goal coming from Connor McDavid after and 2 points coming from him on the night. The first period seemed like this Edmonton Oilers team was going to completely dog walk the Dallas Stars, but that simply was not the case in this game. First of all, a fantastic start. The way we needed to start this game was the way that they did start this game. Except they need to keep the momentum going. They need to keep the pressure on this entire game, and they simply did not do that. They let off the gas after this first period, and Dallas completely took this game back. Really goes to show how at this point in the playoffs, you can't afford to stop playing at any point in the game. You need to keep it on 110% at every point in the game. And we've seen what happened if you don't in this game here. Dallas Stars came back and got it. And I'll pull up the stat card here. You can see the players that we know are going to play good every game. They did. As they always have, they played good. Apart from Leon Draisaitl, a tough game from him, but Darnell Nurse is a player that I don't know what to say about anymore. He's really not showing that he has a place on this team. I'm at a loss for words trying to think about stuff to say about Darnell Nurse, from his play on the ice to his contract to everything, and he's just not playing up to par. He's not playing to the ability that we need him to in the regular season, let alone in the playoffs. And this is going to have a lot of interesting discussions in the offseason, which we'll go into at a later date. I'm not going to go too much into now, but you can see his spot at the bottom of this list is pretty consistent apart from last game. And this is starting to get to a point where something has to be done. We can't just let this keep happening at the price he's being paid for the upcoming seasons. And, the whole situation the Edmonton Oilers are in now, they cannot afford to let this continue. And seemingly, this is going to be what we're going to see for the foreseeable future. And you can see my frustration here where I'm getting at this. And I know just about everybody watching this as well will have the same opinion, will have the same thought process on Darnell Nurse's play in these playoffs and for much further. But we have to just continue to move on with this. Just think about that in the offseason, but we need him to play the best he can at the moment, which is still very tough. But you can see the bottom 5 to top 5 skater ratio, a lot of Dallas to a lot of Edmonton Oilers. So really goes to show once again to show the major fall off that this team had in this game. Even some of the best players. You can't blame this on Stuart Skinner. I'm going to go into this a bit here in a moment too. This was not a game where Stuart Skinner completely lost it for them. He played okay. You got to think that he was definitely a bit cold after not having many shots in the first period and then having an immense amount of pressure on in the second period here and going to completely just fall apart. I don't know any other way to describe it rather than just giving up. Simple as that. And, there's a few shots, a few goals that went in that Stuart Skinner has to have, but you can't blame this full game on him. He needs the defense in front of him. You can't rely on just him on a good night, let alone on a night where this happens and the whole situation that occurs is just not what you want to see at this point in the playoffs. And I'll pull up another thing here regarding the stat card. The bottom average game score is all Edmonton Oilers. That's a very, very tough thing to see. A very tough thing that you cannot let happen against a team like the Dallas Stars, where at any point in this lineup, they can easily outplay you, tear you down to basically nothing, and go in and win a game. That simply cannot happen at this point in the playoffs. But I'm going to move on to that interesting quote from Kris Knoblauch. This is what he had to say after the game. It was a complete reversal of the first period. We were just hoping things would continue sailing the way it had in the first period. It caught us by surprise. Now, this may just be my opinion. However, I don't think this is a proper thing as a head coach in the NHL after the way your team had played to say. You can't say we expected something. You can't use the word expected in an NHL playoff scenario. You have to always play your own game. Expect the opponent to get better. Don't expect them to continue lying on their back and continue to let the Edmonton Oilers just put the puck in the back of the net out over and over and over and over. You can't let that happen. You can't expect things like that to happen every game. You need to work on your own game and make your own way to get a win rather than just expecting or hoping that your opponent does not show up to play. This is not going to work. If Kris Knoblauch's mindset is this, that will not work for the rest of these playoffs, let alone the rest of this series. If this continues, the Dallas Stars could easily come back, win 2, and go ahead and win the rest of the series. But the caught us by surprise was just a weird thing for me to hear or to read when I had seen this, and frankly doesn't make me too happy or too confident with the way this team is going to play. If that's their mindset, I don't know what we're going to see for the rest of this series. However, lots of time to change that. You're only down 1 game, and you have to go and make this next game a win. Simple as that, and you have to just put this one behind. The way you're going to have to process, the way you're going to have to work on it, and that's the bottom line. But let's move on to the changes that we're going to see in Game 4. We have 2 likely confirmed ones. 1 may be confirmed already. And I'll pull up the first one here from Tony Brar. Both of these are. Kris Knoblauch says there's a good chance that Ryan McLeod will be back in the lineup for Game 4 after his absence in this game. And this is basically, to me at least, a reactionary change that we've seen the way this game happened. Ryan McLeod has a very good gas tank. He can go the entire game, and that's why he's coming back in this lineup, to avoid another collapse mid-game. A move that I wouldn't say will have too much of an impact. You don't really know who's going to come out of the lineup yet, but it will certainly be a positive change regardless of who does come out of this lineup in my mind. As long as there's not any questionable or stupid choices. I guess that's the best way to put it. But we also have another one here. Stuart Skinner will start Game 4. And to me, this is a fine move. He did not lose that game last game. It was the collapse of the defense, the collapse of the team, the collapse of not helping him get the win. So this is going to be another proving game for Stuart Skinner. He'll need to play well in this game. And if he doesn't, I don't see him starting another game in these playoffs. So it's going to be a very decision-making game next time we see this team on the ice. We're going to have to see a big change in this team from at the start of the game, the first whistle to the final buzzer. You're going to have to give 110% against this Dallas Stars team. And as I said in this video many, many times, it's the bottom line. So let me know what you think about this game. Let me know what you think about the collapse, as well as let me know what you think about this quote here. A very interesting one in my mind, and I want to know if I'm not the only one thinking that this is a pretty questionable thing to say as a head coach. But that's all I got here. Like I said, if you did enjoy, make sure to give it a like. Hit the sub button as well if you do want to stay up to date with all of the Edmonton Oilers news that we'll have to bring you. But yeah, I guess that's all. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.